Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Robert and Ben Moore. Hey guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. Okay, you guys, so I'm no makeup guru. I'm practicing trying to do my eyeshadow and stuff, so if it looks bad, it should because I suck at makeup. Okay, so like, share, subscribe. It's free. Don't forget about Friday Night Live, 7:30 p.m. here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel. We talk about cases, which we got a lot of good stuff to talk about this week, y'all. Lori Daybell, Chad Daybell, Barry Morphew getting out of jail. Ugh. Yeah. Okay, so let's get going, you guys. All right, so I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to tell you about it, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to try to connect, okay? So, I don't know. Let me preface this by saying these are my opinions. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please do not sue me. Yeah. Okay, so let me say, to start with, I don't know much about Jehovah's Witness faith or the church, okay? So the things that I'm going to say are things that I got when I did my research, end of things, okay? So don't hold it against me because I know I have some lovely viewers, some subscribers that are from that church, and I don't mean any disrespect. So here we go. Okay, John and Roberta Moore had two sons together. Robert, who was 13 years old, and Benjamin, who was 10 years old. They lived with the boys, and then they had a daughter. Sorry, didn't mean to leave the daughter out. I'm sorry. So they lived with the boys and a daughter in Ogama, Wisconsin. I'm sure I said that wrong. If I did, let me. I know you'll let me know. So, on August 30th, 1993, Roberta, the mother, she left home at about 7 a.m. to care for her elderly father. Approximately 45 minutes later, John called Roberta and said, "The boys are missing." Roberta raced home to find her husband, John, standing in the back part of the house, quote, staring into space. That's what she said, I guess. So they searched the house for the boys. John discovered that their old car that they jokingly referred to as, quote, Ben's car, was missing. Because it was raining, Roberta thought to look for tire tracks, which, smart. She found tracks leading down Ogama Prentice Road to Spring Road and into a recreational trail. She followed the trail for a bit, but she decided to go back home and get John to help. Together, they drove down the trail. At John's insistence, Roberta waited in the truck while he took off walking into the woods. I found that kind of strange. If you're searching for your boys, why would he leave his wife in the truck, right? Yeah. About 15 minutes later, Roberta grew impatient and she walked down the trail. So she said, "Screw this, I'm tired of sitting in here." And she walked down the trail and she was able to see their car that was missing. She wasn't able to see John or the boys, so she went back and got in the truck to wait, which, I don't know. She grew impatient and began driving down the trail. So at this point, she's like, screw this. She gets in the car and she drives down. She saw John coming out of the woods and he was apparently crying, okay? He told her, "Don't go any closer because they killed themselves and the gun is there." I don't think, God forbid, if this were my husband, I don't think he would say, "Don't go any closer. They killed themselves and the gun is there." He would have been like, "Oh my God, you know, I think they took their lives. Like, oh my God, I saw them. Like, we need to call the police," you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. At some point, Roberta had remembered hearing a gunshot while she was waiting on John. So while she was in the car at some point, she remembers hearing a gunshot. Isn't that interesting? They raced home and Roberta called 911 at 8:25 a.m. None of this makes any sense. Like, I don't know as a mom that I would be okay getting back into the vehicle and driving all the way home. I think I would be like, you know what, I'm just going to stand here. I don't care if I get wet. I don't care. Like, go call the cop. You know what I mean? Shut up. I'll shut up now. It's also on record that 12 minutes later, John called Heindel's funeral home and arranged to have the boys cremated because it was, quote, the cheapest way to bury them. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. So John had a funeral at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness. John was a member of Jehovah's Witness. Let's see, sorry guys, my shirt's unbuttoned and I didn't know it. When John and Roberta were first married, Roberta was a member as well. In 1986, Roberta disfellowshipped herself as her sister had done 6 years earlier. Roberta says she couldn't live by the teaching that Satan is the ruler of this world and that everyone on this planet except Jehovah's Witnesses are under Satan's control. I'm just reading the research, guys. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know anything about it. I do know that in several things I had researched, people were referring to Jehovah's Witnesses as like a cult. I don't know, like I said, I don't know anything about it. When Roberta's sister left the church, John would not allow Roberta to associate with her sister. Wow. When Roberta left, John was devastated. According to the teachings, anyone who was disfellowshipped should be stoned or killed. But since the law of the land won't allow that, they're treated as if they're dead. After Roberta disfellowshipped, John continued to make Robert and Ben go to Kingdom Hall, although they found it frightening. When they got old enough to rebel, John bribed them with a motorcycle. After that, they went about 2 times a week and only went for 1 year. After the boys were cremated, Roberta got a memorial stone and buried the boys' ashes in the Ogamas cemetery. John refused to go to the cemetery for a service when the stone was placed there. That just strikes me as that's just so strange and so odd. Like, I don't get that. I know he had a funeral at his church, but those are your kids. Like, you can't even go to the cemetery for your kids' sake. I mean, at first, Mike Roberts, the investigating officer for the Price County Sheriff's Department, seemed convinced that the deaths were a double murder. I think that may have been a double suicide. I think I wrote that wrong. The first responder, an officer named Neil Holmes, informed the private investigator that Roberta hired that the scene seemed to be, quote, staged, close quote. Then investigator Roberts decided to close the case as a double suicide. Yeah, so they thought it was a suicide. He speculated that Robert might have shot Ben and then shot himself. The motive that he suggested was that the boys didn't like school because their father's religion prohibited them from, you ready for this? Going on field trips, pledging allegiance to the flag, or being in school programs. Do you really think kids would kill themselves because of that? Like, shortly after, Roberta began to dispute the double suicide theory. During this time, Roberta separated from John. Okay. The rifle that was found at the scene was John's old single-shot, long-barrel Remington that fired 22 short shells. Say that 10 times, I dare you. The police at the scene found 22 long shells. Ben's autopsy revealed that he had metal fragments in his head that could not have been caused by a .22 Remington rifle. Here you go, guys. There were no such fragments in Robert's head, which suggests the boys were shot with different guns. When John came out of the woods, he had told Roberta that the rifle was laying 10 to 15 feet away from the boys' bodies. Yet the deputies found the gun laying between Ben's legs. Remember how the private investigator thought it looked staged? There was also information in Robert's autopsy report that suggests that he may have been sodomized at some point in the past. The private investigator that Roberta hired discovered that the shell that was in the gun had marks on it that were caused by someone attempting to remove the spent shell with a pair of pliers. There were no pliers found at the scene, only a butter knife that was found. Sheriff Worsing told Roberta that the knife was being sent to the crime lab to be dusted for prints. However, you guys, Roberta looked into the car at the impound yard. The butter knife was laying in the car. It hadn't been sent to the crime lab. The PI that Roberta hired attempted to remove a spent shell from the Remington. Using pliers, it took 6 minutes to do it. A policewoman working along with him couldn't get the spent shell out of the gun and gave up. There's no way a 13-year-old could shoot his brother, then pry out the spent shell with the butter knife, reload the gun, and shoot himself in the left side of his head, especially when he was right-handed, according to his mother. There you go, guys. According to the police, there were no prints on the gun or on the steering wheel of the car. So let me see. He killed his brother, then himself. Then he cleaned off the prints off the gun and off the steering wheel of the car. Yeah, it makes sense to me. So, yeah, what the hell. Prior to the boys' deaths, the bodies of another child that attended the same school as the boys and an older man were found on the same road in a pattern of 2-year intervals. Okay? All of those cases were labeled as suicides and were closed. In September of 2002, 9 years after the boys' death, the local newspaper did a follow-up article on the case. The paper made an open records request to view the contents of the case file. Sheriff Richard Heitkemper denied the request, saying the case had been reopened and was actively being investigated. He said investigator Mike Roberts had been reviewing the case files for approximately a year, and some physical evidence was currently at the state lab in Madison. Sheriff Heitkemper said he wouldn't let the paper know the result. He would let the paper know the results of the investigation once it was complete. Guess what? That never happened. Because for whatever reason, he didn't want the paper to see the case files. So he lied. The autopsies of the boys that were performed at Ramsey Medical Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Wait a minute. The autopsies of the boys were performed at Ramsey Medical Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. It used to be a county-run, but it's now known as Regions Hospital. Dr. Michael McGee performed the autopsy on Ben, and Dr. Susan Rowe performed the autopsy on Robert. Their bodies were then sent to Heindel's Funeral Home, in Phillips, Wisconsin, and cremated at Rhinelander Crematorium. Bill Heindel informed Roberta that it's illegal to cremate a child without the signatures of both parents. Roberta and a friend went to the crematorium to inspect the records. However, the crematorium had no record of having cremated Ben or Robert. It's WTF. Something. What the hell's going on? All right. So I was able to connect with Benjamin, but not Robert. First of all, he was just an adorable kid, you know, and that just makes it even more sad. Like, it just makes it sad. Okay, so we talked about his mom, his sister, and we talked about his older brother. He said he's with Robert, and they spend a lot of time together, and they have fun, which you would totally expect a 10-year-old kid to, you know. He talks about getting to know, so he talked about getting to know his grandfather once they had crossed over. I explained who I was, asked him if he would walk me through what happened, and he was very leery, okay? But let me just tell you what I got. He said that his brother was really upset with their dad. I asked why. He said we didn't like going to church, and we just felt like we weren't like anybody else. We felt like we stood out, like we weren't like anybody else. Also, he said his dad was always talking to them about how bad their mom was, that she was a bad person because she no longer belonged to the church, right? They were told that she was going to go be with Satan when she died, and that, you know, he said it upset us, you know. He said that his brother didn't believe that their mom was evil, and then it really upset him that their dad talked like that. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. So, and you got to keep in mind, I mean, Benjamin is telling me what he thought happened according to his brother. Okay, so here's what he says. He says that Robert had said that he had a friend that was going to help them. Okay, he was going to help them run away because Robert said, you know, I can't live with Dad anymore. I don't want to go to church anymore. I don't want to be a freak anymore. So they stole the car. Yeah, so they stole the car and they went to meet this guy. The guy proceeded to tell them, okay, so this guy apparently was from Jehovah's Witness. So this guy went to the same church that they did. And the guy proceeded to tell him that your dad is so mad at you and you're in so much trouble. So basically, you know, he lied and told Robert that he would help them. And then they got there and he started going off about, you know, your dad's so pissed at you, you're in so much trouble, blah, blah, blah. He proceeded to say that he heard the guy clearly say that your dad is going to shut you up for this. So I tried to, every which way I could, I felt him trying to pull away, so I danced around the subject. I talked about stupid stuff, and I said, you know, look, I'm sure this is hard for you to relive this and to talk about this, but I just want to know what happened, you know? And he ended up saying that this guy was a police officer. So apparently he was a police officer and he belonged to Jehovah's Witness. He started to pull away again. He got really upset and said, I shouldn't have told you all this. And I said, you're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to get in any trouble, like, you know. But he's a kid, you know. So he pulled away, and that's as far as we got. And like I said, I've said it before, I have a hard time connecting with kids, so I'm just glad that I was able to connect with him. But all this makes so much sense now. This guy was a cop. That's why, allegedly, the sheriff didn't want to give the newspaper the case information. That's why the police have lied and said, oh, we're gonna have that's being sent away, it's gonna be fingerprinted, and it never was. It makes sense now. So you have to kind of wonder, how deep does this go? You know what I mean? And here, this is my opinion, you guys. But the dad is a complete and total scumbag. I really believe that the dad played a huge role in this. I'm not sure why. Why would you want to have your kids killed? Like, you know, because, I say, okay, one thing I forgot to add, you guys. So you guys are probably like, what the hell are you talking about? One thing I forgot to add is I said to him, I said, did your brother shoot you? And he was like, no. I said, did your brother shoot himself? And he was like, no. And I said, did the guy shoot you, this guy? And that's when he started pulling back. So if this guy was a police officer, it all makes sense now. Allegedly, you know, that the police are trying to cover shit up. So how deep does this go? Does this mean, I just don't understand the logic with the dad. Like, and why are the police covering for the dumbass dad? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, you guys. This was a very strange case, and it was so freaking hard because this kid was so cute. Like, I don't understand people, you know. I hope the mom receives justice. I unfortunately don't see it happening. I don't think she's going to get the answers that she wants. I don't know how deep this stuff goes, but you know, it's not unheard of. Like, it happens a lot more than what you think. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know, you guys. This one just kind of twisted me up a little. I still don't understand. It doesn't make any sense why the dad would want his sons dead. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. It makes sense, though. It also makes sense, you know, right away. He called 12 minutes later. He's on the phone calling to have the boys cremated. I don't know, you guys. Another sad one. And, you know, just remember this when it comes to, like, the dad. How you are in life is how you are in death. Okay, guys. Hey, this is Victoria from the future. So, I wanted to add in here a few things. So, as for the dad, okay, I feel like it was more than just him being angry with them or upset with them. I feel like there was like another motive there. This is my opinion, okay, but I feel like, so supposedly another child that had gotten their autopsy done at the same place that the two boys did, their organs were removed. So we don't know with these two boys if in fact their organs had been removed, because the dad raced 12 minutes after calling the police and after finding his boys supposedly had committed suicide. He's calling to get them cremated. So I think there was more to it. I think it was more about it might have been more about not just being upset with them, but financial gain. I know people pay a lot of money for organs, you know. I've heard in Mexico that they do a lot of like black market organ transplants. So I really think that had something to do with this. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that in there and let you guys know, because I forgot to put it in the original recording. And again, sorry, it's been a long day. So just wanted to come and tell you that. And now back to the video. See my little hocus pocus? Bye. So I don't think he's going any good place when he's dead. So be nice, be kind, stay safe, stay healthy. They're lifting a bunch of code restrictions, which is awesome. But unfortunately, I think it's still out there. So just be careful, you guys. Just, you know, take care of yourself. Be careful. Yeah. And we got to talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard Friday night, too. Don't forget about Friday Night Live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube channel. And that about does it for me. Bye, guys.